Hey guys, welcome back to my vegan kitchen. I've got a great recipe for you today, and I've got a life worth of tips on pancake making for you. I started making pancakes probably as soon as I could push a little chair up to the stove with my dad, so that's over 50 years. So this is over 50 years of tips.
Nice.
So even though I just came up with this recipe last week, it's over 50 years of pancake making tips. So hopefully this will help you make the most fluffiest, amazing, delicious pancakes that you've ever had. Not just vegan, any pancakes. These tips will apply to any.
They are super fluffy.
Right. The first thing that we're going to do is make the wet ingredients. Now, I've got 3 bananas in a blender cup. Don't blend the complete mixture. You will exhaust the bubbles in it and you will not get fluffy pancakes. So just mix the wet mixture first and then we will put everything together. Trust me on this one, it will not be pretty if you blend everything. You're going to have flat as pancakes. We want mile-high pancakes. So we've got our 3 bananas in here because that's going to pump up the mixture. That's going to give it a little thickness that you wouldn't get without them. And yes, these are not gluten-free. I don't know how they would work with gluten-free flour, but for today we're using regular white flour. So we're going to put about a cup of milk in there, just enough to
make a mess.
Just enough to help it blend up, because we're going to be adding other liquids. We're also going to add our vanilla at this point. I don't usually measure, so I'm going to do like 2 teaspoons, maybe, tablespoon and a half. Whatever. If you like a lot of vanilla, put a lot of vanilla. If you're not a big fan of vanilla, put some other flavoring in there. Maybe you like almond or something. It doesn't have to be vanilla. Alright, so let's take this over to the blender and get this going. I don't recommend mashing the bananas. Please use a blender. You're going to have chunks of banana in there, and unless you like chunks of banana in there, I don't put it in the blender. Alright, that's done. So now let's put together the dry ingredients. In my bowl over here, I've got 3 cups of white flour. I don't know how whole wheat flour would work if you use whole wheat flour. I would think you probably need a little bit more liquid, because the wholer the wheat, the more it soaks up the liquids. So you're going to be left with a dry pancake if you use the whole wheat and don't compensate with more liquid. Alright, we're going to use 1 level tablespoon of baking powder. I know that seems like a lot, but that makes a lot of pancakes, and that is what's going to make it super fluffy. We've also got some coconut sugar. You could also use monk fruit. I've been switching off lately and using monk fruit some of the time, or like half monk fruit, half coconut. You want to put a little bit of sugar in here. Even though the bananas are sweet, you still want a little bit of extra flavor, because you don't want this to be a tired, flavorless pancake. You don't want this to just be a vehicle for the maple syrup. You want to be able to eat this on its own. Alright, so we've got the dry ingredients. We're just going to give an equitable distribution, said the divorce lawyers. Alright, now is the time of the show when we mix the dry with the wet. So you're just going to want to pour it all in and don't mix it yet. The least this is mixed, the better, because that is going to conserve those air bubbles to make it fluffy. So we're just going to fold this.
Oh, that smells good.
Yeah, doesn't it? Give it a little stir. You could see that this is too thick. That is by design. We want this to be a little thick because the next liquid that we're going to be adding is going to really pump up the volume here. So while that is just sitting for 1 second, I'm going to turn on our pan over here. And it's crucial that you get this at the right heat, because if it's too hot, Your pancakes are going to burn and they're going to cook too quickly and the inside is going to be all liquidy, and you don't want that. You want the perfect temperature. So this, I guess, is on like number 2-ish, but depending on your stove, you're going to have to play around with that. Alright, so now we're ready to add the secret ingredient, seltzer water. This, I have found over the last year, has been amazing in cakes, in pancakes, muffins. It really, whenever you use baking powder or baking soda, this really pumps up the volume. And hopefully it doesn't explode all over.
Luckily you just dropped that bottle.
I just dropped it and it didn't explode, but look, it's getting ready to. So now you're going to have to reach out and touch faith on this one with your personal Jesus, because I can't tell you exactly how much to add, because this is going to change depending on the humidity, the time of year. So you're just going to have to add a little bit at a time until you get that perfect pancake consistency. And remember, please don't be rough with this. Don't over mix it. It's going to make that gluten activate in the flour, and it's going to make your pancakes tough. So now we're getting close. This is still a little bit thick. We don't want it too thin, but we don't want it too chunky either. This is looking pretty good. Just like that. It's okay if you've got some lumps in there. When it cooks, it's gonna even out. Wow, that's just about perfect. So now here is a huge secret for you guys. You didn't see me put any oil or fat in there yet because I'm gonna use it to lube my pan, and then I'm going to put it in here. Trust me, this is an old secret. So I'm gonna do like 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, but you can use a light tasting olive oil or whatever other oil that you, that doesn't go in there, or whatever other oil that you like to use. I like to use the avocado because it doesn't really have a taste. Just make sure your pan is well greased and then pour it right into the pancake
Whoa.
mix. And then give it a stir. You won't have to keep greasing your pan. Once you grease it and everything gets going, the oil in here is it's going to be like self-perpetuating. So that's perfect. Let me get out a little cup so that I can measure it into the pan. And make sure your pan, that's another tip, make sure your pan is hot enough. You don't want to put these pancakes into a cold pan. That's a recipe for disaster. That is going to stick like glue. Make sure it's hot enough. Alright, so we're going to go with half a cup. That's our story. We're sticking to it. It doesn't have to be exactly half a cup, but if it's thick, you might want to spread it out just a little bit. Now let that cook until you start to see the outside not so glossy and the bubbles start coming up, and then we'll be ready to flip. Alright, you can see over here, it's, whoops, starting good. We're ready to flip. You gotta have a real reach out and touch faith moment here.
Ooh,
perfect. You know, the first one's always a little bit too blonde until the pan gets really settled in, but not too bad. And boy, can I smell that aroma coming up of the beautiful sweetness of the banana.
Beautiful.
It's not going to taste like banana because we blended the crap out of it, but it's going to be like a pleasant caramely type of taste and smell to it, especially with the coconut sugar. But you can see that's going to be a mile-high pancake right there. Alright, so this has been about 1.5 minutes-ish on each side, maybe 2 minutes, but you can see the edges here are just starting to get browned. You can check it before you take it off, but you can see that's ready to go. So we're going to just continue along and build up a big old stack of pancakes. I just cooked them all up They're all stacked up here, fluffy and
Beautiful.
beautiful. So it's actually breakfast time for me. I start eating at noon. So I'm gonna have some pancakes for breakfast today. So I'm gonna have 2 of these. This made 10 good sized pancakes.
Great size.
Yeah, it is a great size. Also, I want to tell you guys, not that. I want to tell you, don't try and do this in a stainless steel pan unless you're like Wolfgang Puck or CIA graduate. You're only setting yourself up for a disaster. Get a nice stone pan like the one that I was using. I got mine at TJ Maxx for about $15 or $12. And it doesn't have any of those PFOA, is it PFOAs? I'm not sure what the bad thing is called, but it doesn't have any of those. So I'm having mine today with some beautiful wild blueberry preserves.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to stack 2 up. I don't really like syrup that much. It kind of makes me nauseous if it's too sweet. So I like to use this. I like to use peanut butter sometimes, but today I'm having some beautiful chocolate and ice cream that we had left over from the other day. So I'm just going to top it off, because what is pancakes without nice cream on the top, right?
So good.
Ooh, and there's some vanilla and ice cream on the bottom of that too.
Ooh, you could see like the coldness coming off of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because these just came out of the pan. Alright, so let's give these a taste. Let's see what this is for.
I think you're gonna like it.
Oh, I think Mmm.
Tell us.
Ice cream's really cold. But it's really super fluffy and flavorful. Really nice. I hope you guys give it a try. It was so simple to do. I appreciate you watching, for clicking on this video. I hope you take away something from it. And I'd like to say please subscribe. And until next time, much love.